What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Hi there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Emminent Domain Microcosm from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is for 2 players. It'll take about 10 minutes to play, and it's for, say, about ages 9 and up. And this is a spin-off of the very popular Emminent Domain game. It's a micro game, 2 players, 10 minutes, about space, but not about Kevin Spacey, unfortunately, in which you're going to be trying to acquire various different cards that will give you different victory points at the end of the game, depending on how many of those said cards you have. You're going to be colonizing planets, warfare, taking over people's things, doing all sorts of spacey stuff. But is the game good? Let's open it up, check it out. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Emminent Domain Microcosm. Before we get started, I do want to mention that the box included with this, or the game, is going to have extra promo cards for Battle Cruisers, Dungeon Roll, and Emminent Domain. Unfortunately, I only own one of those games, Dungeon Roll, which I really did enjoy, and I still do enjoy, even though I would like to try Emminent Domain a lot, because I heard it's really good. But anywho, so it's going to come with some promo cards, which is pretty cool. So, let's get to our handy-dandy rule booklet, and we'll go over how the game is played. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rule booklet, 1 page, double-sided, full color. This part is all the rules, and then this part pretty much here is just all the different cards included in the game. And put quite simply, this is not a very good rule booklet. Now, it's not a terrible rule booklet, but for the size of the rule booklet and for the simplicity of this game, this rule booklet is really lacking. It doesn't need to be lacking. I feel like if they just added 3 to 5 sentences here or there or scattered all about, this would be a really fantastic, well-done rule booklet. But the bottom line is, you're going to come to some scenarios in this, if you are learning this from the rule booklet, where you're like, I think this is how we do it. I'm pretty sure this is the way it goes. And you shouldn't have that in a game this simple, especially when you just waste the back of the rule booklet to put all the cards on here. It's like, you have the cards already. Why the hell do you really need to put all that right there? It bugged me a little bit, but needless to say, it's not the best rule booklet, but it's still a pretty simple game, so I can teach it to you right now, hopefully. So next we'll go over the components, and we'll go over the gameplay, but first, how do you win the game? Well, you're winning the game by getting the most victory points. You're going to get these victory points by acquiring cards in the middle right here, or colonizing, or / taking over with warfare, various different planets, which will be up here. You're also going to be collecting tech cards along the way, which will give you various different bonuses. I'll go more into the scoring, how the scoring works at the end of this, because it is a really cool scoring system. So first we're going to have planets. There's going to be 3 different costs of planets. These one will cost you 0 to colonize. These ones will cost you 2 to colonize. And these ones will cost you 3 to colonize. And what you really need to know is that the 3 ones are going to be better than the 0 ones, and they'll be better than 2 ones, and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at one of these cards so you can see exactly what's going on. So when you acquire a planet, it's going to give you a little symbol right here, which means you have an extra one of those symbols, which can score you victory points at the end of the game, which is great. This means it's going to be worth 2 victory points at the end of the game, just period, as long as no one takes it over from you. And in order for you, so this right down here is the defense. So let's say I tried to take this over with warfare. I would need at least 4 of these guys to take it over with warfare. Now, if this were already something I had colonized, which I'll get into in a second, then it's going to take 5 to conquer it with warfare, because, well, I'm colonizing it. And some of them will have different symbols. This one will count as any one color, so essentially it's going to score you a victory point at the end of the game, in addition to the victory point right there. This one is going to give you +1 to the defense of all your different planets. That one means if you have this, it's going to be really hard to take over planets from you. These ones down here, these are some of the cheaper ones. So as you can see, they have lesser defense. Some of them even have 0 on it. But they're going to give you symbols that you'll be able to use. So this one, if you acquire this is a great one to get, because it's going to give you an extra warfare symbol and an extra colonize symbol. So you'll be able to acquire more planets. So those are the planets you're going to be acquiring either by warfare or by civilizing them. So next you're going to have 5 different kinds of tech over here. And tech cards are going to be very important, very helpful, because they will just give you an extra of a symbol that will let you do different things. So the capital, the improved research are pretty much going to score you an extra victory point at the end of the game. So that's really good. They can actually potentially score you a lot of victory points at the end of the game if you decide to focus how you're going to score points that way, which I'll go over the scoring system in a minute. So the 3 really important ones that you will use during the game are right here. This one's going to be improved warfare. It's going to give you an extra warfare symbol, which means you'll be more likely to take over people's colonies and planets. That's great. This one is a mobilization. This one is going to give you +1 to the defense. So if you're worried about people stealing your planets, boom, grab this thing, and they'll be a lot less likely to take them. And then last but not least, we have the improved colonize, which is going to give you +1 colonize symbol all the time to help you colonize different planets. But that doesn't make much sense to you right now. So let's go over these cards in the middle, and hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense. So when you first start the game, you're going to have 3 cards down here, and this big old pile of cards right there. And we'll take a look at one of the cards so you can see exactly what's going on here. So when you acquire a card, it's instantly going to give you a symbol in the upper left. So that one right there has that. Also, it's going to have a symbol of what kind of planet it is right there, because those could potentially score you victory points at the end of the game. It'll tell you what kind of card it is, so this is a warfare card, and it will have an action. So when I play this card, I'm going to choose a planet or colony and reveal it. And then if I can reveal that many icons compared to the defense value of the planet, I'm going to put it in my spoils, which means it's going to give me victory points at the end of the game. So what does that mean? Let's just say I decide to play this card, and then I reveal this card right here. This would be a fantastic play, because in order to take over this planet, I'm going to need 0. So I immediately take over it with none, potentially, which means I'm going to gain a victory point at the end of the game, and I'm also going to gain this little symbol, which will help me at the end of the game. Now, if I decided to, say, take this over from someone who was an opponent, so let's just say an opponent had colonized this planet, which I'll get into how colonizing works in a second, then I would not be able to take it over unless I had 2 of those crosshair symbols in order to take it over, and then if I did that, I would essentially steal that from my opponent. Now, the other really important part of this card is in the upper right-hand corner. That's the scoring condition. So this card means I'm going to score, focus there, 1 point per every one of those cards that I have. So instantly when I acquire this card, it's worth 1 point. So that is great. Also, so if I acquired this planet, because it's got the red strip right there, that would be an extra victory point I would get for this planet. And as you can see, a lot of these cards are going to have the red on there. So they have different symbols. If I got that card right there, boom, it's worth an extra victory point. So hooray for me. So there will also be some other cards. I'll go over a couple of the different cards so you can see how they work. The colonize works very similar to the warfare, except you're going to reveal, so if you colonize, this is how you're going to be able to purchase cards from right here. And you're going to just be revealing that many cards to purchase it. So for instance, if I played this card down and I didn't have any other cards in my hand, I could still colonize this planet right here because it only cost me 0 to colonize it. Now, if I decide to go with this strategy and acquire a bunch of these symbols in my hand, then I can go ahead and acquire these really good colonized cards right here. And this card right here is going to give me 1 victory point per colony, and so that is really good. And I'll go over some of the different scoring conditions right now so you can see them. So this one's going to give you 1 point per card in your spoils. So this one, if you have a lot of these, you're really going to want to have a lot of warfare. This one's going to be per tech, which are over here, so you're going to want to acquire these techs right here. This one's per spoils, per tech, per spoils, per spoils, per tech, per tech. Wow, that's terrible. That one's per green planet, per yellow planet, per colony, per every one of those symbols you have. So as you can see, there's lots of different ways to score the points. So on your typical turn, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to draw a card and then normally have one of 2 options. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to acquire one of these cards right here, or you're going to randomly blind draw a card. So we'll just say we blind draw this card. It is a warfare card. So choose a planet or colony and reveal it. Reveal, So now I have the choice of either playing down a card with an action and performing the action, or picking up all of my cards I already played. So I'll just go over mock hand so you can see what's going on. So I would play this right down here, and I'd say, all right, I'm going to try and take over this planet with my warfare. Now right now I have a warfare of 0, so I'm really hoping to see the one that has a 0, and boom, that's great! I acquired this card. So what I would do is I would put it into my spoils pile, so I put it over to the side right here. So that's great. No one can take that from me, and I'm going to be getting points at the end of the game. And now it would be my opponent's turn. They would do the same thing, and then I would go back to my turn. So the first thing I would do is I would acquire a card right here. And I would say, you know what? I've got a spoils already. I would like to start acquiring things that are going to help me score spoils cards. So I might draw one randomly from the top, and it's not helpful. So I have this card, so my choice is now I can either play this card or I can pick up as many cards that I have face down here as I want. Not my spoils card, but right here. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and decide to play this card. This is a research card. Take 1 tech card from the center, or from the opponent's going to have to discard one. So you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and acquire this warfare. I think I've decided that I'm going to go on a warfare strategy right here. I would put this tech card right in front of me like that, and now I have that tech card, and as long as my opponent does not make me discard it, it is going to be mine. That's the only way that I can lose it. My opponent would take their turn, and then I get back to my turn once again, and I might say, what do I want to do here? I don't like anything out on the board, so once again, I am going to you know what? No, actually, I think I would take this card. Peek at a face-down planet or colony. So this means I'm going to know what I'm dealing with before I decide to attack something. And then I get to play another action. So this would stack up very well with a deck that's going to be attacking a lot of planets. So I would take that, I would flip this card back over, and then I would decide, instead of playing this card right now, actually, you know what? I can play this card and take another action. So what I would do is I'd play this card right down here, blue, and then I would peek at, say, let's peek at this card right here. We'd see, oh, in order to take over this guy, we're only going to need to have one attack, so that's very good to know. And then, as my extra action, I would go ahead and pick up all my cards. But normally you don't get to take extra actions unless cards let you do that. So you would continue to do this until all of these cards are gone, and then all of these cards are gone. Once all the cards have been picked up, the final person is going to take one last turn. They're going to complete their turn, I should say. So let's just say all these cards are picked up. This is the only thing left. I would pick up this card, complete my turn, and then that would be the end of the game. And then you get to the scoring, which is really, really cool. So how this is going to work is you are going to stack up all your different ones that match. So for instance, let's say, you know, I had this and I had this. So right now, for every colony that I have, I'm going to score 2 points. For every spoils I have, I'm going to score 2 points. So let's see. Where's a good example? So they stack up like that. So for instance, if I had another one of these cards, it would be 2 points for every tech I had. If I had 3 of them, it'd be 3 points for every tech I had. If I had 4 of them, it'd be 4 points for every tech I had. And at that point, you would really want to focus on acquiring techs and maybe leave all the warfare to other people. But that's how you're going to do it. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner of Eminent Domain Microcosm, and that, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Alrighty then. Eminent Domain Microcosm from Tasty Minstrel Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game is 2 players. It's going to be a turn off for some people. It plays about 10 minutes, and it's a micro game. Those are some things that some people are just not looking for in a game, and if you're not, this one probably isn't going to convince you otherwise. The big con in this game, though, is the rule booklet. The rule booklet is not very well done. I want to say it's terrible, but it will teach you how to play the game. For me personally, it's terrible because it leaves me with questions where I'm like, I think that's what you're supposed to do. I think this is what's supposed to happen. And that is inexcusable in a game that is this simple. And the main thing that really bugs me is that if this rule booklet was chock full already and they just didn't have extra room, I'd be fine. But the bottom line is, there is plenty of extra room. They included every card in the game on the back. Why? Why would you do that? Who needs this? Who's the guy who's like, I want to see every card in the back, when you can just easily be like, oh, look, I can look at every card because I have the game. That bugs the heck out of me. They just needed an extra sentence here, an extra sentence there to clarify different things, to maybe note special things, to really put a bullet point on certain things, and they didn't do that. And that is inexcusable for how simple this game is. And that is the one glaring weakness in this game, in my opinion, is the rule booklet is not up to snuff. Because let's get to the pros, and I will put it right here, plain and simple. This is the best 2-player micro game I have ever played. I've played quite a few of them. There you go. That's what you need to know. And I'll go one step further and say this is a 2-player game that can stand on its own. It's a really, really good 2-player game that I plan on playing for a long time from now, and I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons why I really enjoy this game. First and foremost, let's get the obvious one. It's small, it's compact, it's portable. You can put this in a book bag, put it in your pocket. You can teach it. Very simple. It's very simple to teach. I won't say it's very simple. It's very simple to learn if someone already knows how to play the game as well, as long as you don't have to use the rule booklet. Because it is very, very simple. What do? You set up the cards, and then you draw a card. You replace that card, and then you play an action, or you pick up all your action cards and scoop them back in your hand, and that's your turn. So essentially it does come down to that love letter thing where you draw a card, you play a card, draw a card, and play a card. And then every once in a while, draw a card, acquire stuff. And every once in a while, you're going to be colonizing and doing warfare and various different stuff like that. But that's all very simple to teach and to learn. So that's good. It also comes with extra promo cards for different games, which I think is a fantastic idea. They could have very easily put this in a smaller box, saved a little bit of money, but instead they included promo cards for other games. I think that's a fantastic idea, so I'm excited. You know, and the great thing is, now I'm going to go play another game of Dungeon Roll with the Time Lady / Time Traveler to see, you know, if I like that game. I like that card, I should say. So, what else do I like about the game? I really like the scoring system. The scoring system is really cool and really unique because there's a lot of stuff to look at on these cards. I like how much is on these cards. I like the fact that you're going to be looking in the upper left-hand corner. You'll be like, okay, that's going to help me. That's going to help me take over people. Then you look at the other right-hand corner and say, oh, but that's not really going to help me because I don't have anything in my spoils pile, so I'm not sure if I want that. So there's a nice little trade-off. But then, of course, you have to look in the action of the card and be like, oh, that's a really useful action. Say, all right, do I want this? Do I want that? And it's really, what do you want to focus on? And I like that an awful lot. There's also a little bit of gambling there because it's like, all right, I know I could probably take this over, but I may be able to take something over from someone else. That's another thing that I really liked about this game. In a lot of games where it's, attack somebody else and steal their things, it really goes over not very well with my wife. But this game just plays so quickly that it doesn't even matter. I mean, this is definitely one of those games that lends itself to playing more than once at a setting, which is another great thing I like about this game. Artwork's really well done. Cards, components, everything's really well done. Overall, Emminent Domain Microcosm. If you were in the market for a two-player game, check this out. If you were in the market for a micro game, check this out. If you just like good games, check this out. Emminent Domain Microcosm, the best two-player micro game I have ever played. Period. So if you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below. And also in the comments below, let me know. Leonardo da Vinci, what did he do? You know what he did? I don't. Didn't he paint? He painted. Yeah, he painted. Or he was a sculptor or something like that. All I know is he's a Ninja Turtle. Ninja Turtles are awesome. Kind of got lost there. Train of thought. But anywho, thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was the review for Emminent Domain Microcosm. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bowers Game Corner.